everybody, Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. Question is, what is real? What is not real? All right. I say that because I think what we're starting to see are the use of green screens and CGI, various forms of realism being presented to us, to the point where if you don't have the eyes to discern this, we're going to get all caught up in this wag the dog type of theory. And the reason I bring this up is because I've been watching videos coming out of POTUS over the last week. Okay, we've seen instances where he was sitting in the Rose Garden telling patriots to go home, right? But then if you look at the surroundings, you look at the green buds on the hedges behind him, you look at the fact that he's not wearing a coat, the weather is very cold. You look at the fact that the noise in the background doesn't justify what we're just seeing that very same day in the surrounding environment. No aircraft noise, no sirens, anything. I mean, you can hear a pin drop. And we know that there were millions of people there. Lots of sirens, lots of noise, very cold. Doesn't add up, does it? We've seen videos where he was supposedly at the hospital with COVID, and they look to be green screened, not necessarily there. I'm telling you folks, we are seeing an illusion of things that are taking place. That last video where at first, my first blush was that he conceded. He did not, actually, as I watch back, but you know, you get your emotions get involved in it very quickly, which shows you just how real this stuff is, right? Look at things with a level of discernment, okay? Because it isn't what you think it is. For example, if we go look at the John McCain videos, let's talk about ISIS and ISIL and the stand-up of that, okay? We saw videos of guys in orange jumpsuits being beheaded. We saw instance after instance, people being set on fire, people marched out on beaches. But then on John McCain's laptop, when he was in the Ukraine, his laptop was hacked and a video was pulled down that showed the use of a green screen and how they were making these videos. It was a wag the dog, okay? Now you look at this video, and it's right here, it's proof. It's still up on YouTube, which I'm shocked they haven't taken it down yet. But look at this video and just look at the green screen behind them, look at the orange jumpsuits, look at all of the props and the lighting and the director, film directors, everything that's behind it. It's all an illusion. And so anybody can sit here and do this stuff. If you've got a big Hollywood type studio, you can produce quality data that is going to trick anybody, right? And then you've got the media who is on, as we're finding out, is all operated by the CIA. So folks, what they were doing was using this instance to fund their war, okay? Unchecked, unquestioned. Keep that in mind, all right? Now here's the other thing I want to show you, okay? We've got an instance where that Ethiopian flight, I told you guys when I first saw it that I tracked that flight all the way from Northern Africa down to Southern Africa, okay? It flew, and it flew straight into Nairobi, and the satellite picked it up every 3 seconds, okay? And I'm going to show you the proof of this, all right? All right, now I want you to look closely at this, all right? This is a timestamp, 3/10/2019, 5:41 a.m. It just shows, this is the log that was entered into flight stats, all right? The problem when you're doing deep fakes or faking something, right? There are a lot of capabilities out there today that people don't realize that are running these black operations or these deep fakes, okay? Where technology, if you're not totally clean, technology is going to burn you, okay? And so this is what we're looking at right here. So I just want to show you 3/10/2019. This is the flight log has been changed on ET-AVJ. Okay, that was the flight number for that aircraft. Okay, and so actually, sorry, that's the tail number for that aircraft. All right. Now I want to show you. Supposedly, this aircraft crashed right out here. Right. So the actual tail number taken off out of this airport, it flew east, right? And then supposedly right here, and this is a mountainous region, by the way, okay? You can see here there's hills and mountains. I say mountains, but this is a hilly area, okay? Now, and I'll bring that up because I'm going to show you later how you can vet some of this that is just totally bogus. All right. So additional, it's just data points as we get the fake images coming in. Okay. But supposedly this flew, boom, crashed right here. All right. Now look at this. This right here, this direct black line was the planned trip south. Okay. Now this is flight radar 24. Okay. That was a planned flight. All right. Now you can see you've got the airspeed going up. You've got altitude going up, and then what you have is you don't have anything coming down from the ground, okay? Okay, now given that, if you look at this, right, here's takeoff, right? Climbs, does a max climb, right, which is up to about 8,000 feet, 470 miles an hour, all right, which is normal. Everything looks good. This right here is its ground speed when it took off, 26 miles an hour, all right, 535, that was here, all right, that's a data point where it started picking up and tracking that flight, okay? Now, check this out. All right, this is your heading 147. So this is taken off out of the airport. Now, if you go and look at here, this data point, if this was an actual aircraft that crashed, that black box, and it would have tracked for the next 3 seconds. So you got 540, 542, 545. Okay, you would have watched right here this line go straight down into the ground. Okay, airspeed line would have probably increased, because it would have gone that way, and the altitude line would have gone straight to the ground. Okay, it didn't happen. What they did was they killed the transponder. All right, so it was no longer showing. All right, but there's our vertical line. That's where it should have shown. Boop, drop down. Okay, it did not. All right, now check this out. Flight Stats actually tracks the aircraft, continues to track it, because the reason it's unknown is because they killed the transponder, but the GPS they did not account for. And so the satellites are still tracking this aircraft. Now, I tracked this plane on Flight Stats, and I believe they've deleted it since then, okay? But I real-time tracked this airplane all the way down. You can see this green line. That is the actual flight path, okay? And it came down to Nairobi, all right? It actually completed its flight, okay? It did not crash. They killed the transponder here, but GPS continued to track it. All right. Now I want to show you the lines so you guys can understand. All right. Satellite image. This is instead of a map, this is just satellite imagery up high. These are the calls out, call out the labels. So these are all the filters that I have selected. Okay. Actual flight path is in green. Flight plan is dark gray. That's this gray mark right here. You see a little gray hash right there. That was gray until this thing completed. Okay. Time tracker, U.S. weather, it doesn't matter because it's not in U.S. anyway. But, all right, so you're tracking me so far. All right, now I want to show you, this is the flight plan. Remember the gray line I just showed you a minute ago? So when I show you that actual path, back here, the green, that is because it flew that flight. It doesn't just make it up. If that flight didn't complete that, it would stay gray, okay? So data point, all right? Next. Bodies on the ground. Look out here. Does that not look like, almost looks like an ocean area, okay? It doesn't look like the center of Africa. You got some hills here, but that looks like a beach. This rock right here is looks like volcanic rock or something. Looks like somebody's thrown some hay down here. But that rock right there does not depict. Now that's supposed to be, I guess, where they had an aircraft crash. This is a scene is what this is. It's just a bunch of, here they are pulling bodies off, supposed bodies off. All right. But look out here. This, how flat that is. Very oceany looking. To me, looks like a beach scene. Okay. All right. Now, this is all the flight stuff. You can see this plane maintains, it does a daily flight. This is always up to 10th right here. Okay. But this is an average every daily flight. They change out tail numbers from time to time. All right. And this was the March 11th flight, the one that supposedly ottered. Okay, here's our tail number, ET AVJ 737 MAX 800. All right. Again, this is landed time, 1 hour 33 minutes. All right. Now this is a different flight. That's ATK. Okay, so I'm just giving you some timestamps of how long it takes to fly down there. So when I show you this other stuff, you're going to see. All right, this is us tracking it. All right, I went into Flight Aware, which is a different app. All right, now Flight Aware will give you different parameters. All right, now I want to show you how Flight Aware actually started picking this aircraft up down south here as it headed into Nairobi. Okay, and so it took off here. This is where it supposedly crashed out here, but look at this, how it picks it up. As soon as it gets to that border right there, probably because this area right here is probably a little more populated and has more capabilities and people living. I would imagine that population is higher and it probably has more ability to track stuff, okay, on ground equipment. Whereas out here, you're in the middle of nowhere. But again, remember that I don't see a beach anywhere on here. I don't see anything that resembles what we were just looking at. So again, pictures are worth 1,000 words, all right? Okay, now this is where I want to show you. This is the departure, all right? 11:38. Okay, now this, keep in mind, this is going on, tracks over to, I think, Central Standard Time. So this is just a timestamp. Okay, and the reason it tracks that is because that's my location, all right? Central Standard Time. So it gives me basically an idea. If it went over to Nairobi time, it would be completely different. But all right, as I digress. This was actually a departure at, here it is right here, Sunday, 8:38 a.m. African time, all right? That's what you're really looking at. This is my time, okay. All right, so you see it, take off, all right? Now you got your course heading right here, 190, 190, right? And it is basically tracking, these are longitude, latitude right here. So long-lat right here, back and forth, all right? This thing's on the move. It doesn't produce a fake longitude, latitude, and heading unless it is actually physically tracking an object, okay? Satellites are tracking this thing every 3 seconds. And so this thing was pinging off the satellites an object and this whole time. Now, check out the arrival, 10:28 a.m., okay? So we went back to our arrival times I was showing you earlier so you could see on the board, regularly scheduled, all right? Now, this thing landed. This right here is it taxiing, okay? So it arrives at Nairobi at 10:28 a.m. and then it taxis and then it takes a turn. And you can see it actually turning, and this is where it goes, all right? So 15 minutes of taxiing. Now, there are accounts on ground at Nairobi that said, hey, we heard the plane crashed. We saw it land, but we saw it, we came out, we were getting ready to marshal it in because we weren't expecting an airplane. And so these guys on ground, baggage handlers and everybody else started kind of setting up because they're like, whoa, man, we got an airplane coming in. Wasn't supposed to be there. But they said then the aircraft taxied over to the hangars on the opposite side of the runway, all right? Now, this is the flight, 302 type aircraft, 800 max, all right? Shows where it took off, international, and it shows how it arrived, 10:28, all right? There it is right there, arrival on the board at Nairobi Airport, okay? So we have proof that it landed, all right? In addition to the satellites tracking it, yet we're seeing pictures on CNN and everywhere else that this thing crashed. That doesn't really add up in terms of this airplane on past flights where actually I think it went to Israel on this flight right here and it showed as a 777-200 with the same registration. So go figure that one out, okay? All right, now here it is again, same aircraft, AVJ registration. Now it's showing as a max jet. All right. All right, let me go back to that. Same data point. Now this one's showing here 777 max 800. All right, now go figure that out. Okay. Again, max 800. So we've got multiple flights where it's showing as a max 800, but then we have one anomaly that shows as 777. Okay. Now, here are all the flights for that aircraft, that tail number. As you go down, here's March 9th all the way back to February 20th. Look at this. Look at all the different identities this airplane has flown by, all right? 800 max, 737-800, 800 max, right? 777, okay? Same airplane. This is the flight history for that aircraft, but notice the identities keep changing throughout. All right, so now you see what I'm talking about, okay? You've seen a video that justifies a war. You see an airplane that supposedly crashed. We are in a complete psyop in which they are playing and working against each other. And us, we are being fed all of these data points that are just being made up. It's all wag the dog, okay? Airplane didn't crash. I just showed you it tracked all the way to Nairobi and it landed, okay? So why? I don't have the why behind that. It doesn't make any sense to me. But the McCain thing, I can show that right there. The reason we saw that is because they were using that to fund a war. And it just goes to show you that the propaganda arm in the United States is very strong, okay? And now we see POTUS videos that look like deepfakes. We see pre-recordings. We see green screens. We see a lot of different things going on, all right? And so I just want patriots to be aware as to what you're seeing doesn't necessarily mean it is true, okay? All I ask you is just pray for discernment, all right? When you see these things, take it as a data point. I even get caught up on it myself, all right? And I start to think everything you see is truth, okay? And that deception is going to tear us apart as a nation, all right? And the reason I say that is because if you believe everything that you see, I mean, we see it in our counterparts, okay? You see the folks that watch CNN, you see the folks that listen to MSNBC, and they watch the media, and they are completely blue-pilled. They don't get what's going on, right? And then you see us who have been given the data points and shown that what we see is not necessarily real, okay? But where does that lead us? Okay, now we see all the accounts on social media being shut down. Why is that, right? You have to ask why. And the reason for that is because we are spreading that truth, and it's starting to the point now where they can't contain it, okay? And so when the Capitol just got rushed, all right, my first initial blush was, finally, the Patriots are taking this country back, okay? But then the more we watch, the more we realize that it's all an illusion. This is all staged. Those people that we saw going in the windows were fake. They were not. Those were not MAGA people. Okay. And then we watched the guards open up the gates. We watched them usher people in. We watched a guard lead them to the area they needed to go. If that was a real situation, honestly, he would have OC sprayed people at the door. He would have been calling for backup, and he would have probably drawn his weapon, okay? And probably ventilated somebody before he started running up a stairwell and showing people. But we watched cameras fall in behind him. We watched the camera that went up ahead of him, all grabbing angles, okay? It was all cinematics, okay? And what you're watching, folks, is a movie taking place, all right? And remember that. This was all staged to present us as the bad people. And the reason they're shutting down our YouTube channels and our Twitter and everywhere else, we're all scattered, is because they're breaking up our communications. They're getting us into disarray, and they're shutting down the truth because we're starting to use those tools against them, okay? So just keep that in mind. All right, folks, that's all I have for this one. I'm going to be posting more stuff about flights, where POTUS was, where he wasn't, things of that nature, as I get the details in. I'm actually shaking the bushes with my sources because I want to find out exactly what's going on before I start just putting stuff out there, okay? All right, so listen, that's all I have for today. I hope that I was able to shed some light on things and give you maybe an extra level of discernment, okay? Again, just stay frosty, folks. These things are moving at a rapid pace now, and I think these next couple of days are really going to start showing us where we are as a nation, and don't give up faith yet, folks. I think this is all part of the plan, all right? And so just stay safe, stay frosty. God bless. Monkey out.